What's going on, Benchwarmers? We are back, but it's a different voice you are listening to right now. Unfortunately, Erik is not here with us. This is my first time hosting, first time ever doing this, so bear with me, bear with all three of us. And fuck it, we'll just do it. You know what I mean? In life, you just gotta do it. Just gotta truck through it, you know what I mean? But let's get right through it. First of all, y'all got to go follow every single thing in the description. Every single thing. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And on YouTube, turn on those notifications. My boy Marco putting in that work. You already know. My boy Gat, you already know. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Why not? Let's just do it. All right.
Today's phrase is let's do it.
Yeah, that's my new word now, my new phrase. Let's do it, especially on this podcast, this episode right here. But so yeah, let's dive into it. Past weekend, wow, Man City, Chelsea. Like, I'll put my little 2 cents into it. Like, dude, this team right here, like 11 wins, 11 Premier League games in a row that they've won, and it's just like it's such a, I guess like a what's the word I'm trying to say, like epitome or like the overall meaning to like Pep's career, just because like everything, like everywhere he goes, it's just so consistent. Everything's just so consistent, winning, whether it's winning ugly, winning nicely at Barcelona, and especially in Man City, like he combines both of two worlds, and it just meshes into a perfect team. Perfect game right here. Man City 1, Chelsea 0. De Bruyne just individual ability just out of this world. What were you guys, Marco? What were your thoughts on this game?
I mean, we had a feeling, or I think I mentioned the day of our last recording that we kind of knew it was going to go this way. It's just that we didn't know what kind of Chelsea was going to show up. We've seen different phases of Chelsea this season. The invincible one, the one that nothing is impenetrable Chelsea, let's call it. The one that you see a struggle, a sick one. So we didn't really know what kind of Chelsea was going to walk into this game, and I think we saw a Chelsea that came to play. We can see in the result, it's a 1-0. So Man City had struggled a little bit to at least get that one goal. But overall, again, it's Man City. So we knew that the result was going to be a Man City win. We just didn't know how it was going to be. But it was a great game to watch. Like you said, De Bruyne's class in this game specifically was shown. But yeah, man, it was a good game to watch, and we know for a fact who's going to walk away with the trophy. It's sad to say that so early in the season we already have an idea of who's going to be it. I think I saw this. Somebody I think on IG already posted. Well, how many points are in between first and second in every league, and I think the Premier League has the biggest gap. If I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, I think I saw that too somewhere. I think every other league was like below 5 or something like that. It's really close everywhere else except for here. So I mean, that just shows you the kind of things that Pep is doing as a manager. And then, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Marco. But just really quickly, I mean, I like you said, we all thought the result would end in City's favor. I didn't think it would be this close. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a rout. I thought it was going to be at least 2 or 3 goals that City would put in, just because Chelsea form has not been the greatest. But overall, I mean, it was a pretty good game. Chelsea held their own. KDB just showing, why he's top midfielder in the world right now. And just the one thing I think I took out of this game is that combination that Tuchel brought out up top. I believe it was Lukaku, Pulisic, and Ziyech. It just didn't work. I'm not sure why, but that trio right there just doesn't mesh. I mean, if you're going to play Pulisic and Ziyech, those are players that are going to go for the runs. They're going to get in behind, and if you have Lukaku, who's not going to drop back and actually try to create something, it's just not going to work. So I mean, we'll see what happens going forward. I know they did change it up against Brighton, but we'll touch upon that a little later. But yeah, it was a pretty comfortable City win.
I definitely agree. Like on your like front three is like point, as like it just doesn't work as well as probably Tuchel thinks, or maybe not, because like sometimes I feel like Tuchel, like I rate him very highly. I think he's an incredible manager, but I just feel like the players he has just doesn't work into what he wants to do. For example, Hakeem Ziyech, Christian Pulisic. I'm looking at team right now. Obviously, Marcos Alonso, Aspilicueta, and obviously they don't start either at wing back because Reece James and Chilwell. But like most of these players, like Tuchel obviously didn't buy. It was Lampard buys. Tuchel only bought Lukaku, Saul on loan. That's pretty much it. And I'm looking at the team right now. It's just there's so many like places on the field right now. The back three is just not working as well as maybe we thought. Not as well, maybe we thought. Like we saw earlier this season, constant clean sheets. I mean, Mendy isn't there. You know what I'm trying to say? Like Kepa is not a good goalkeeper. Malang Sarr is not a good center back. Tuchel just probably hasn't. He just doesn't have the right players for him, and it's a lot of managers in the world honestly don't have the right managers for them. Like for example, Arteta, especially like 2 seasons ago. Like how many times did we hear like these players aren't for Arteta? Like he needs the correct players. Arsenal go into the 2021 transfer window by 6 players, and now look. And it's not Man City level, but you see like the intangibles and whatnot, where you see, all right, these players can work for under this certain manager. Going back to Tuchel, like Hakeem Ziyech, like he's just not working on Tuchel, and it wasn't working under Lampard. And I mentioned it before, it was like Chelsea have so much depth, but a lot of these depth players are shit, dude. Like I'm on the bench right now. Timo Werner, not good enough. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, not good enough. Saul, not good enough. Ross Barkley, not good enough. Hudson-Odoi, I rated him very highly before, but I'm like, yo, this guy has 4 goals in 4 Premier League seasons. And he was, you know what? And Bayern Munich wanted to buy it for 70 bags. 70 bags. And which is a credit to him, because if Bayern Munich want to buy it for 70 mil, it's like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, you're a player. But 4 goals in 4 Premier League seasons, as Kai Havertz hasn't lived up. Let's go on to the pitch now. Pulisic, injury prone, not good enough.
Super sub. If anything.
Hakeem Ziyech, obviously I said that before. Marcos Alonso, not good enough. A lot of players just not good enough for Chelsea right now. And that what's interesting as well, it's like, I feel like these past years, Chelsea have always had mediocre players, but they've always had like good managers. For example, Antonio Conte. Right now, Thomas Tuchel. And they always make it to cup finals. And in my opinion, it's always winners. Exactly. Well, not Conte, but
yeah.
Well, Conte won. I think he got 93 points in the season 1 with Chelsea.
That's correct.
And what I'm trying to say is that I just feel like the past recent years with Chelsea, it's like more down due to the manager. Like when Antonio Conte won a team, like come on, Victor Moses, Pedro from Barca. All he had was Diego Costa and Eden Hazard just carrying a bunch of like planks of wood. Obviously Conte as well. But yeah, man, was Ramirez there for Conte?
Was he there?
I don't know.
No, I think he was already out by then.
And Conte also had Marcos Alonso, Tim Cahill. It was just credit to the manager. But yeah, on this Chelsea game is, especially since it's such a big game, it kind of just what I've seen on social media is Chelsea fans just kind of be like, all right, yeah, this is definitely where the season was lost. And like, all right, I'll ask you guys a question. Like, if you're a Chelsea fan right now, right, are you leaning more towards like the optimistic side, where it's like, okay, all right, the board, they haven't gotten things correct, in my opinion, right? But world-class manager, a couple of decent players, I can still see something out of this season? Or it's like, yeah, no, this is like the start of something where it's just leaning towards, yeah, like it's just not, it doesn't look sustainable.
I mean,
Gat.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I definitely think that they'll stay in top 4, just because at the end of the day it is Chelsea, and even with the players they have, they will manage to get something. But I think it's just a run of form. I think at some point, excluding Man City, I guess, but everyone goes through these periods where things just don't click. And I'm sure, especially now, you can hear, oh, but we have so and so off the AFCON, COVID injuries or whatever the case may be. So, there's still a lot of football left. We've only been through 22 game weeks already, so there's still, what is that, 16 more to go. So there's still a lot of football, and you definitely don't want to count them out. So I think they'll find their rhythm again.
Marco?
I mean, if I were a fan, which I'm not, but if I were a fan, like I'll be a little upset in the sense that we were first place for a very long time, and we dropped the ball. Something happened within, I'd say, 5 weeks, and we just lost the title, or at least the being up top in first place, right? Title contenders. So I'd definitely be pissed, but at the same time, I know what the team can do, and I know what they can do under this coach. And I should give them the benefit of the doubt to think that they would at least be able to keep us top 4, give us a chance at Champions League, and hopefully, I know it's kind of hard now because we are on the day 20th of the other month, so we're only 10 days, 11 days away from the transfer window to close. So I doubt to bring somebody in, but hope that we'll start getting rid of the dead weight in the team, or they would be getting rid of the dead weight in the team and start thinking about who's next. And in my opinion, there's definitely 2 players that I consider, or I would say they should definitely get rid of immediately, if they could, because they're just holding on salary. Lukaku's one of them. I think it's just I don't know.
What a shame.
Yeah, I think it's just
Jesus Christ, dude.
Again, just one of them, and the other one is the Timo Werner. Again, another player that I think just came to collect money, and I don't think he purposely did that. I just felt like the team got too big for him, or the league got too big for him, and he can't settle in. And it's 2 different coaches, so it's not like he didn't feel that the one method or one style of coaching from one person what didn't fit him. It's 2 different ones, and he still hasn't been able to find a spot. So that's who I think they should consider. But yeah, again, given the benefit of the doubt, they've won something with some of these players already. So they should technically be okay.
You mentioned like Timo Werner and Lukaku, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, imagine trying to be like, what was it, the sporting director?
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to get transfers right must be one of the most difficult jobs, man, because there's just so many things that come into place. Like what was it, like 2020 summer transfer window? Chelsea bought Hakeem Ziyech, Kai Havertz, and Timo Werner. All 3 of them have not lived up to what they're supposed to live up. I think Kai Havertz is 80 mil, Werner 40, Hakeem Ziyech 45, and now they're kind of like they're decent players off the bench, but like what I've just said before, they're not good enough to challenge for a league title, and they'll probably be stuck with them for maybe 2 years. Like it'll be like it's not difficult to offload players.
And who wants to pick up a player that hasn't shown their worth in this team again? Unless you're sitting them out on loan, and or the price tag has gone significantly down, so you're basically losing. Nobody's going to pick them up. Of course, you know what they can do. It's just that they haven't been able to perform in Chelsea specifically. Yeah, man, it's a tough one. Plus, I mean, like you said, it must be hard to do that job. And I think it's harder because when you have, if you're paying attention to the coach and you have that one coach in your ear saying, "Hey, I want these players," and you finally get it, but it doesn't work out, and that coach ends up being sacked, and these players ended up being who the previous coach has chosen, but the new coach doesn't really have a need for them. It's kind of like fuck. Now it took me so long to get them. Now I'm screwed to fucking to get rid of them.
And you know what's a prime example of that was when Tottenham Hotspur sold Gareth Bale to Real Madrid, and they bought like, what was it, like 9 players, like Soldado, Erik Lamela, and Erik Lamela literally just left this past transfer window. So what was that, 7 years?
Pretty much
just holding on to dead wood. Like it's getting transfers correct. I'm like so like big on this. Getting transfers correct it's so key to like the next 5 years of a club. Because if you get like 2 big money transfers wrong, dude, like that can honestly like put you like way down. For example, Chelsea right now, just spent $100 million on Lukaku in 6 months, in which like, come on, let's be realistic. In the summer when they signed Lukaku, we didn't know he was going to come up with attitude problems.
No, I mean, didn't
right?
Erik and I, we rated him. We saw that there was going to be a contenders. There would be 2 contenders for the Golden Boot this season in EPL, and we didn't know if it was going to be Cristiano Ronaldo or if it was going to be Lukaku. And so far, neither of them, and they're in our now eyes are kind of lacking. So, yeah, man.
Right, but still, so I want to point this out. Okay, Chelsea have 23 games played, right? Currently on 44 points. Tottenham has 19 games played on 36 points. Point difference of 8 points, right? Tottenham have 4 games in hand, and I know games in hand don't count as 3 points for each game. But still. So, like, do you guys think, like, Chelsea are, like, in trouble of, like, making top 4 come at the end of the season, Kat? Like, would you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah, I think they'll stay. I mean, if anything, they'll drop to 4th maybe, but I don't see them getting out of top 4.
That'd be crazy. I'm looking at it right now. That'd be nuts. Chelsea European Cup winners the following year jump out of 4th. That'd be nuts, dude. But move on to the next game. Nice little segment on Chelsea. Norwich 2, Everton 1. Jesus Christ, dude. What are they doing? And they're about to appoint Roberto Martinez. Dude, like, oh my God, man. What, like, honestly, sometimes I think, like, the higher ups at these clubs, what the fuck are they thinking at times, dude? Jesus Christ. Not just Everton, but, like, there's so many clubs around Europe, like, where you just think, bro, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Jeez, man. Like, if I'm an Everton fan, like, and there's nothing to look forward to. Like, there's a couple good players, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, and they just signed this promising right back from Rangers, Patterson or something like that. But just a bunch of Damari Gray. There's just nothing to look forward to if I were to be an Everton fan. There's just nothing to look forward to. Good stadium in a couple years, like, jeez, man.
And I know I did mention it the last time we recorded. I mean, we troll Norwich all the time, saying, "Well, it's Norwich. It's Norwich. You know, any team who plays them, you got to get a win." And now it literally is becoming, "Oh, well, it's Everton. It's the same thing. Now they're just so bad."
Like,
I mean, you got to think so. I mean, now they lost the game. Benitez is gone. I don't think they have anybody in mind yet. They're gonna, I forget who the interim is gonna be for now. But you gotta at least believe if you're an Everton fan that Benitez wasn't cutting it. I think in his whole, I mean, they've only won one game under him, if I'm not mistaken, or at least over the past X amount of weeks. So you got to believe that with him gone, they're going to be hoping for a new manager bounce now. So I think Richarlison is back now too. So hopefully something
will make a difference.
Hopefully something sparks at least for their sake, and something improves because they got to do something real quick.
Like, look, I'm looking at the lineup right now. Rondon, really? He literally left Newcastle to go to China. Everton buying back. I think he's like the same player he was. Jeez, man. Yeah, like, what the hell, man?
And they got rid of Digne too. Now that Benitez is gone, maybe if Digne would have just outlasted that, he'd still be there, and he would probably be able to help Everton do something. But now he's gone, so we'll see.
It'll be the same thing. Roberto Martinez comes in, a couple good games. Yeah. That's it. There's nothing much to really talk about. Well, props to Norwich. I mean, Dean Smith gets sacked from Villa, comes in at Norwich, probably the worst team in the league. Jeez, props. But Villa Man United, Manchester United Football Club, 2-0 up. 2 goals from Bruno Fernandes. Comes on Felipe Coutinho. They were good goals, to be honest, especially the second one. Gat, what was your overall, like, I guess, take on the game?
I think at the end of it, it was just very frustrating. We finally got out of Ralph's 4-2-2-2 formation because we finally realized that it's just not working. Going back to the 4-2-3-1, we definitely looked a lot better than what we have recently. We went ahead. We looked pretty decent. Just the second half, I don't know what noticed that the game was starting to get out of hand, so he tried to make certain substitutions to try to get back ahead, instead of realizing that maybe we just need to protect the lead instead of trying to go and get another one. But yeah, they just looked gassed. They just couldn't hold it anymore. I mean, last season it was very much the opposite. We always came from behind. We always invited the pressure, and then let the other team burn out, and then we would come and attack everything in the second half because we still had fresh legs because we weren't really going all out from the start. Now it's the opposite. We're going all out from the start. We're trying to be this really aggressive team, and I just, for the life of me, can't figure out how fitness is still an issue because they just couldn't do it the entire game, and then you see what happened. They just took advantage, and hey, listen, credit to them for seeing that opportunity and running with it. But there's definitely a lot of room for improvement still. But at least it seems like we have the formation right. Just kind of had to go back to basics. This is a formation that the guys know. They've played in this formation for so long. So as long as we keep this up, we should be righting the ship hopefully.
I feel like this game kind of really represented like my point I made, where it's like, yes, like the Greenwood, Ronaldo, Marcus Rashford, and it's a weird episode because we're talking about like, oh, Man United played bad and then they won yesterday. It's like such a weird episode. But yeah, like the Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, Ronaldo, Cavani, a bunch of like straight goal scorers, like direct goal threats and whatnot. And it looks good on paper. Like just imagine like just full force running at you on both wings. But there's just like I mentioned before, like there's just no ball retention, like nowhere in the front, like the midfield and the attack. There's no one to really connect the both of them. Bruno Fernandes can do it, but I don't think he does it well most of the time. The front three players, Alanga, Cavani, Greenwood, probably the only player who can really keep the ball well, Alanga, and obviously Jadon Sancho. That's literally why I think Jadon Sancho, obviously he had a funeral to attend yesterday. That's why he couldn't play or whatnot. But like when he is ready, like in my opinion, regardless of whether he's played bad to people's standards or whatnot, like he has to start just because his qualities they benefit a lot of teams, and especially this Man United team because I feel like in the past couple of years, there hasn't been anyone to link the midfield and the front three. Like I just said, Bruno can do it, but he doesn't do it well in my opinion. And United have been missing that player for a long time. And Sancho was there, but whether he can have that side of his game, but add other sides to his game that he doesn't have right now. Maybe he had at Dortmund, but he's not showing at United. It doesn't matter in my opinion. Like his other qualities that he does show is super important. That's why I'm not really like that harsh on him. Just because I know there's a player in him, man. Like I remember like watching a couple games at Dortmund. He's a frightening player. Like his ability to just link up play, his combination play, whether it be with Haaland or whatnot, is scary. It's scary. And if Man United can get, and I always feel like there's a lot of players like if. What if with Sancho? Just man, I wish he can really kick off because he's a nice player to watch, and I would have him at Liverpool to be honest, regardless of what form he is in right now. Just because he has a lot of qualities that many teams lack. Which is a weird one because he plays as winger, but he's not quick enough to beat a man, in my opinion. Like he doesn't have that burst of speed where you see like in players like Sadio Mane, Leroy Sané, they can just jump off the bat and beat a player, right? So I feel like you have to kind of accommodate to his strengths. But yeah, man, Marco, did you happen to catch this game?
I did, and I'm not gonna lie. I once the second goal went in, the Bruno Fernandes goal, I'm like my predictions with the shit. Like my prediction was that Sevilla was gonna walk away with this, but because I felt that United the team wasn't really there. They weren't really connecting, and at that moment, when the second goal went in, I kind of felt like, all right, well, they're proving me wrong, so why the hell am I gonna watch? So I left it in the background. I wasn't really paying attention until, of course, fucking what's his face comes in and changes the whole game. Coutinho. His first day is his return to the EPL, and what a return was it! Goal and an assist changed the game completely. And again, we all know that 2-0 is the worst score line to have because anything can happen. One minor error gives your opponent a goal, and it just gives them that boost to want to go for that second one. And that was the case. That's exactly what happened. The fact that Coutinho came in and scored gave them the boost to want to go for that tie, and they did it. So I watched the beginning part of the game, and then basically just paid attention to the last 10 minutes because it was such a good game. Again, it's weird to talk about how they tied and how they look a little tired, and then they go in and win against Brentford yesterday, which is a completely different team. And again, if you would have asked me, I might have given it to Man United, or I might have not. I don't know. But you could see that there's also the unbalance of not really knowing what to expect with this Man United. Too many rumors have been coming around, and I feel like this team is also hard to predict. Like right now, like Man United, you really don't know what's going to happen. I believe this weekend they play against West Ham, so like that's a team like I'm like, even though they are at Old Trafford, like come on, you got to give the other team credit too of what they've done. So I don't know, man. For the Aston Villa game, it was an entertaining game to watch. At least the last 10 minutes, I give Aston Villa kudos. And Man United too, because they came out to play a little bit.
Yeah, man. Bright future if you're a Villa fan. Center back, another DM needed.
And for Villa fans, fuck, they're looking to see if Suarez wants to come over. So is that gonna happen? I don't know.
I have my take on that. Fuck it, I'll put my take on that. That's not a good buy. Like Suarez is one of my favorite players, but as coming from a Villa standpoint, that's not a good buy. Like there's so many other players in the market that you can pick up for.
I feel
like he's gonna be a free agent, but yeah, no, in my opinion, I don't think it'll be a good buy.
Because of what's been happening lately, I feel like the older players coming back to still going for the big teams. I think it hasn't been working out lately. I think the only one that's worked out for, honest to God, has been Ibra. Aside from that, like Messi has been struggling at PSG. Ronaldo has been struggling at Man United. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Suarez had one big season and then struggled.
He's been playing poor this season. I think he has 4 goals. That's it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's been a big. I think they should realize what's going on and start moving their way down and let the youngsters come in and take those spots. But I mean, hey, I'm not the club owner, and at the end of the day, right, it's shirt sales. You imagine how much money they'll make when Suarez walks in, and if he walks in, I mean, I know my man over here would buy a shirt. Even though he's a United fan,
I'd buy a shirt, dude. Fucking Suarez back
hey,
in the
listen,
prime.
I'm also Uruguayan, so I'll gladly
exactly.
Buy a
so,
shirt, so
I mean, my man doesn't support Atletico Madrid, but he has an Atletico Madrid jersey.
Yeah, man, gotta support the countryman every now and then. He's an idiot, but still gotta support him every now and then.
There you go. So, I mean, again, it's as a business, it's smart. As a team, debatable.
I feel like I wonder if teams buy like unnecessary players just for a profit on them in terms of not selling them, but like just shirt sales. I wonder if that's like we're gonna buy this player just for shirt sales type thing.
I mean, I don't think they walk in saying, "Oh, we're gonna buy him for shirt sales," but that's not. Like I think that's also they're not dumb.
Right.
We know what's gonna happen. Like, not to be a dick, but like James Rodriguez was a shirt sale.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
again,
it's probably that was probably also like a link to Carlo Ancelotti. Yeah, that was a weird buy. Looking at it now, like I feel teams definitely like just there's so many good young players in the market. Like just go buy, one of them, not buy like some.
I mean, I understand the experience.
Thomas, you know what I mean?
Of course, I understand the experience that Suarez brings, but is he up for Premier League again? That's the question.
No way. I mean, you even have to just look at him. If you guys ever watch him play on Uruguay, like he's not even a full 90-minute man now anymore. It's either he gets subbed off, late, he gets subbed on late as well. Occasionally when Cavani is a full starter, it's just there's no way he would be up for coming back to the Prem.
Yeah, he's been huffing and puffing the last couple years. I can't lie. Well, we'll move on. Liverpool, Brentford, Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. My take on this game, real quick, was a nice performance. Like it was just a normal controlled performance. I think Brentford had one shot that they probably should have scored with Bueno. But other than that, it was just kind of controlled possession from Liverpool. Just kind of tick the ball around, just waiting to that perfect moment. It happened with Fabinho and Oxlade-Chamberlain. They weren't like high quality like carve the team open chances, but it was just one of those games where you can just control the ball. And then once you get like that split second where you're just like, all right, this is my chance to either pass or take a shot. I think they did that perfectly. Just just a nice team performance. That's pretty much it. There's nothing much to it. Obviously, no Salah, Mane, Keita,
No,
which is an
no
interesting one
problem either.
because um, I can definitely see like why a couple of people say, all right, like obviously Liverpool don't play better without them, but it's definitely like a whole different dynamic just because, and it's definitely a credit to Klopp just because for the past 4 years he's been literally starting Mane and Salah literally every single game, and he adapts his overall system and tactics to those players because I mean they're one of the best players in the world, right? But now it's just like if you don't have them, I guess you can kind of consider it or see it as like a more free flowing system where everyone kind of gets a cut of the cake or a cut of the pie and whatnot. So it's just like it's a pretty interesting dynamic to see. It'd be like I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know. It'd be like Bayern Munich getting rid of not getting rid of, but like benching or not having Lewandowski for a couple games, and you see like Muller, Leroy Sané, Musiala, Kingsley Coleman, kind of like that more authority or whatnot to get forward and kind of link up with each other. But yeah, man. And then Chelsea Brighton. So I mean, this is kind of like a Chelsea bashing episode, I guess. Geez, Chelsea Brighton. I only watched the first half of this game, and it's kind of like the same thing. Just stale performance. Nothing really special. Did you guys happen to catch this one?
I know for a fact I didn't. I mean, these are what the games for Tuesday and Wednesday. These are postponed games. We're basically playing catch up.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it. I didn't get to see it, but again, we don't know what to expect with Chelsea. So, and I mean, Brighton has been doing a solid job at giving the big six or any team a run for their money and becoming a headache. And in this case, they were, and they're costing. In this case, in this instance, Chelsea points.
Who's did you watch the game, guy?
I didn't know. Midweek games are always tough for me just
Uh,
because I'm at work. But I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised at the same time because I'm always saying don't sleep on Brighton. They're actually pretty solid team. On their day they'll beat anybody. I mean, you could say that about every team, of course, in the Prem, but especially this season, they're showing up when we least expect them to. I'm surprised that it ended in a draw just because of how Chelsea lined up. I just got done saying earlier that that trio didn't work for it's just not working. It didn't work for the game against City. And then they lined up with I think it was Lukaku, Ziyech, and Pulisic wasn't there. I know Havertz was subbed on, Werner was subbed on. I would think that trio there between Lukaku, Havertz, and Werner would at least work a lot better than it did. But it's just even that's not working. So at this point I have no idea what they need to do. What if they need to change the system? They need to try players in different positions just to get a little bit something else out of them. I have no idea. But I am surprised considering the players that actually came on to try to affect the game. It just didn't work out.
I literally just came up with this right now, right? So you know how we like, for example, like episodes before, I'm like, right, Simicas, great competition for Robertson and whatnot. And I always mention it's always great to have competition in multiple places, positions on the field, right? But I feel like with Chelsea right now, it's almost like it's the opposite. There's so many players that Tuchel can select that he doesn't know who to select. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, for example, Hudson-Odoi started in this game. He didn't start against City. Pulisic started against City. So it's another changed, especially in the front three, where nowadays in football, every touch needs to be perfect. Especially and honestly, dude, football is all about patterns and rhythm, especially rhythm. Players coming in and out of the game, in and out of the lineup just doesn't help at all. It's a weird one for Tuchel, man. It's a weird one because, like I just said, there's so many players he can pick from. Like, does he want to play a Mount and Havertz front three along with Lukaku? Does he want to drop Lukaku? Like, why would you drop Lukaku, right? He bags goals or whatnot. At least not right now, but we've seen he's a clinical striker. I don't know. Maybe you should drop Lukaku. Like, there's so many like things Tuchel has to consider, and not even like in the front three, like in the back three as well. Like when he does, they played a back four this game, which is pretty interesting. But when he doesn't play back three, like, do you play Chalobah? Do you play Andreas Christensen? Do you play Aspilicueta as a right-sided center back? Obviously, Rudiger and Thiago Silva is guaranteed 2 starters, but like I always mentioned, we always see, oh, this is a good headache for the manager, but it's almost like the opposite for Tuchel. Like, damn, there's like so many players I can select. I don't know who to select. But yeah, man, Chelsea won, Brighton won.
Yeah, when
Now
it
this
comes to
game,
that kind of stuff, sorry, when it comes to that
go
kind of
on.
stuff, like it becomes like an issue, like you were saying, because then you're not creating any consistency with some of the players. Like
Right.
they can't read. I mean, there's plenty of training going and behind the scenes to be able to accomplish this, but also in game, you need to understand each other. And the fact that there's so much inconsistency when it comes to like what players are playing and what position and the consistent rotation, it's just we notice that there is a struggle and sometimes a misunderstanding or a misread because there is no it still has to become a muscle memory to some of these players. And we might not remember to this so and so is going to make this run at certain times, and stuff like that. So again, like Nico was saying, it's just kind of like inconsistent in the sense.
That's a great point because I know when Man City drew 2-2 at Anfield earlier this season, I think probably like during the game, we all mentioned like these City players. Actually, I probably shouldn't use example, but I'm gonna use it either way, even if it doesn't make sense. Yeah, these City players, they know where each player is, right? Like they know where each player should be, where each player will be, and that's drilled into their mind, right? But my overall point, because this doesn't really apply to City, I'll kind of more apply it to Liverpool because Liverpool have a more established 11. Like obviously Robertson, Trent, front three only interchanges with Jota and Firmino. Mostly the same front midfield three when all fit. Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, Ox, and whatnot. So it's a consistent 11, right? So I'll use an example as Liverpool. They know where each player will be and should be, right? And that's such a huge advantage just because it's almost like, all right, I'm gonna receive the ball here. I know Trent is already near Salah or whatnot, ready to interchange between those two. Or I'm gonna receive the ball here, and I know already Robertson is to my left, or Mane is already making the run. As soon as I receive the ball and make a turn, Mane is already making a run inside the channel. And it's a great point from Marco. Like he just said, these Chelsea players don't have any consistency or rhythm. So yeah, but going on to this game, jeez, dude. And 3 Tottenham, 2 Leicester, man. What the hell? Steven Bergwijn, who would have thought? A lot of Spurs
I,
fans have been turning around him, but
I thought this game was done, like most people, as soon as the 90-minute mark came. I mean, I didn't really watch the game either way, but I always have the website up, so I saw the scoreline. I'm like, okay, thank you first and foremost, Leicester, for beating Spurs. And then I look at the scoreline at the end of it a couple minutes later, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
right.
This was a crazy game.
Yeah. So again, like Gab mentioned, I didn't watch the game, but I do have somebody to blame for Spurs winning, and that is Dimitri. If Dimitri listens to this, I blame Dimitri for this. So the reason why is because Erik, myself, and Dimitri have an Arsenal chat that we sometimes we consistently talk about when it comes to Arsenal stuff, of course. and Dimitri started celebrating the win for Leicester City over Spurs, because we were supposed to play against Spurs, and we weren't able to this past weekend because of the game got postponed. So because we have some frustration within us. So because we wanted that game to happen, at least I did. But shit happens for a reason. Anyway, so he starts celebrating. He sends us a message saying, "Hey, they deserve that loss or whatever." And then Erik texted right before the first goal, the 2-2. He said, "I wouldn't celebrate too soon." And then the goal happens, and then Erik replies, "You see, you jumped the gun," or something to that extent. And then the third goal comes in, and then we start just giving shit. Give me shit. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take that one," because like in football, there's a reason why we all at some point have learned not to start talking shit too soon, because anything can happen. So in this case, it's so crazy that in overtime, in the extra time, that's when the two goals came, and after 2 minutes apart, if I'm not mistaken, minute 95 and 97, that's when they came in. So I mean, anything could happen. They could have been shit the whole game, and somebody just came with the lucky boots that day and fucking scored twice in 2 minutes.
Dude, what I took from this game, and I've always been like a pretty big Harry Kane fan, and fuck it, I'm gonna show it here. Like, this guy is incredible, man. Like when he's playing his football, and there's a system around him, and it's just free flowing and whatnot. Man, this guy is incredible. Regardless if he's won 0 trophies, the quality this guy has is incredible. Like his ability to just drop deep, like Firmino, but he does it better. Like that pass for Bergwijn's winner, he picks up the ball, turns, and it's just like the most weighted pass. I think De Bruyne had a similar assist last season to, I think it was, he picked up the ball, Raheem Sterling cuts it back to Gabriel Jesus. Like, he's essentially a midfielder that can finish from every single angle. Conte, I just feel like he's gonna get that. I think I mentioned a couple episodes ago, he's gonna find something that clicks. And like I said, when it does click, whether it's Son and Kane or it's his wing backs, or it's just a consistently, obviously they conceded 2 goals, but you never know, or it's a consistently like they can defend well back three is what I'm trying to say. If anything clicks like that, it's just gonna be full throttle from there. And it's kind of looking like their front three. Steven Bergwijn 2 goals. I'm not gonna get fooled by that. He's gonna go back. He's probably gonna start the next game, play bad, go back to the bench. But what I'm trying to mention is Son and Kane, right? Because when Son comes back, it'll be very interesting just because of those games in hand. And again, that Son and Kane link up, no trophies, I don't care. Phenomenal duo who can do anything, literally anything, like the most perfect players for each other. And it's definitely that time of the season where Conte is like, yeah, this is where I get paid and whatnot. And this is really where he does get paid, because past years, Chelsea, Inter, when he really came down to grinding down points, he really showed up, especially in terms of the league. We all know he didn't do it in Champions League, but yeah, this is definitely a time, in my opinion, where Conte is, yeah, this is my time to grind out some results and really like kind of go against the odds or whatnot, just because it's, I guess people think it's Tottenham, you know what I mean? 0 trophies again, kind of view them as a banter club. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but Conte likes that, you know what I mean? He loves going against the media view. That's what he does. When he came to Inter, although he got shipped out 18 months later, he kind of proved people wrong, and that's really what he does. But yeah, it's kind of my take on Tottenham right now. I just feel like they're really getting slept on, in my opinion. I don't know. I have this sneaky feeling that they're gonna creep into this top 4, and they're just gonna stay there. We're gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, at the end of the day, you just gotta look at who's there to lead everything, and then you have Conte there, so we all know what he can do. It's just a matter of, once it clicks, just watch out, and that's the one thing that I am definitely nervous about, is when they do figure out what clicks, because I mean, you just look at the past couple games as well. It looks like Harry Kane is making a comeback as well. He's finally getting on the score sheet, a lot, very consistently. So we'll see what happens when Son does come back. I'm sure he's gonna need some time, to get fully match fit again. But if they're able to do this without Son there, if this holds once he does come back, I mean, it could be a very interesting end to the season for sure.
Yeah, man. Moving on to the next game. Yesterday, Man United 3, Brentford 1. Yeah, what was your like? I kind of want to ask you your opinion on, and it's 32 games, but I haven't watched much of him these past 2 games. Like I watched him a little bit against Villa, but it was almost like one eye on, one eye off. Um, like what's your take on like Alanga?
He's
Like what does he
he's
do well type thing? Like, you know what I'm trying to
he's
say?
he's really good, just all around. He's good on the ball. He's got the pace. He's good at making the runs. He sees the spaces very well. He's just all around. He's a really good young kid. He's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. Hopefully, he stays here. Of course, that's my bias coming through, but all around, he's just a really solid player. I'm glad he's getting the starts because as you can see, he definitely deserves the starts. He puts in the work. But yeah, just overall, I'm really excited to see him going forward. Overall, on the game itself, I think we learned a thing or two about what happened with Villa. However, the first half was atrocious. It was god awful. That first half, I was a little concerned just because, um, coming off of the Villa game, I expected a little more. Um, and then that first half, just it kind of seemed like it was going to be one of those days. Um, but once we got to halftime, that I was reading, some things after the game where the guys knew what needed to be done. There was still a positive message during halftime, and they came out and they just took over from there. I know this game especially, Ralph did want Bruno to play in a different position. He had him play more in the 8, so he was a little deeper. He picked up the ball deeper in the field and was able to create chances. He did get 2 assists, so he was able to just really link up with the forwards a lot better. I McTominay had one hell of a game as well. I know, I don't remember the stats off the top of my head, but something like he won 90% of his dribbles were, he won most of his air duels. Like he had a solid game as well. Um, I would be interested to see this lineup going forward. To be honest, I mean, I was telling Diego earlier, a pairing of McTominay and Bruno could be fun to watch. Um, if they keep this form that they showed in the second half, I think it'll be a good spot to take Bruno because for once we actually saw old Bruno peek through even with Ronaldo on the pitch because recently it's always been one or the other. So it was good to see him come back to form.
My kind of view on McTominay, he's a good player. And he do really well. Like I'm trying to think, like at an Everton, maybe a Aston Villa, maybe a West Ham, maybe a Wolves. Like he'd be a good player for like a top mid-table team, but I don't think he'd be good enough to like challenge for a league title for Man United.
He's definitely getting better. I mean, with the way that Ralph wanted to line up for this game, and even just going forward, if he ever wants to do that again, it's just we can't really trust McTominay to hold it down by himself. He's definitely looked a lot better, but if you entrust that defensive mid role to just him, it's going to be just a flip of a coin and just hope that he's just on it that day. Because he's just not as consistent as we want him to be. But he's getting better, so I mean, we just gotta hope that he gets the consistency right and go from there.
And he's like a kind of like he's pretty much a box to box 8, right? Um, and when you're in 8, it's essential you need to be good on the ball. In my opinion, I just feel like there's too many games where McTominay has just way too many games where he's too lazy on the ball. Like when he does get on the ball, doesn't pick out the right pass, spends too much time on the ball, sloppy with his passes. And it's kind of like my main point on him. Like his on the ball um ability or whatever, like it's just with these top teams in the world and in Europe especially, every single player, all 11 players have to be good on the ball. Every single one of them. Now, one player cannot be good on the ball. And if they're not good on the ball, it'll show. It will show in so many games. Like it's like it's like when something's sore. It's like a sore thumb, right? It'll definitely show in every single game. in most games where a player's not good on the ball and a player not good on the ball affects so many aspects of the game, defensively and offensively. So I'm trying to say McTominay, he's a pretty good striker of the ball. Like I said, good
Yeah,
box to box aid, but
it's
yeah,
just a matter of. I mean, you guys said earlier, it's really hard to predict what kind of Man United we're going to see. That also holds true for McTominay. We don't know what McTominay we're gonna
right,
see when he gets on the pitch, because on his day he's great, and when he's not, then that's just a tough watch. But he just got to get his consistency down, and we'll be good. But I mean, it still shows at the end of the day, we still need a solid defensive midfielder. I mean, we can't always rely on Matic to be pretty much our only defensive midfielder that we can actually rely on. So hopefully we go out and get somebody.
right. Let's move on to this weekend's fixtures. First game of the week is, tomorrow is it's a bunch of yo-yo clubs. Watford, Norwich City, up and down like a yo-yo. That's it. That's all they are. What are you guys saying, Marco? Watford, Norwich City, yo-yo clubs, 6-pointer game.
You know what? I'll give it to Norwich. I feel like they're wanting it a little bit right now, so I'll give it to Norwich.
Yeah, I'd go Norwich as well.
I won't go with numbers at least in this game.
Yeah. What are you saying, yeah?
I mean, I think at home, and again, it's Norwich. I've got to give it to Watford.
Okay. I mean, they're only like 2 points apart.
So yeah, so that's why I'm playing the home field advantage here.
Okay.
I'm sure Erik is going to listen to this and come back on the next pod and troll me about the whole home and away statistics that we talked about early on. But still, Watford at home against Norwich.
This next game is going to be interesting. Everton, Aston Villa. Lucas Digne, really fresh off of transfer going to Villa from Everton. Already gets to play his former club. Coutinho may get a start. I'll be pretty interesting to see what Gerrard kind of lines up with. There's a lot of players at his disposal, especially like in the midfield and the front three. Everton are gassed right now. Can't string a pass. Everton are home. I'm gonna go with 3-1 Villa. 3-1 Villa.
Kind of reading my mind, but I don't think I don't think Everton's gonna score. So I'll go with 3-0 Villa.
3-0? 3-0?
Yeah, no, I agree with Marco. I don't think Everton's gonna score. I mean, it's Everton now. That's we can start saying that. Even though they're home, they're just so shit. They're just so shit. And you got to give credit to Gerrard, because the stuff that he's been able to do at Villa since he took on. I mean, it's amazing. The players he's brought in, just the change of system. What he's getting out of these players has been great. So they're definitely on a high right now. So there's no way they don't win this game.
What I've noticed about Gerrard recently, he's very versatile. In his tactics, especially in the front three. Like, you'll see a lot of ways he can get down to attack teams. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, this, like, what I've noticed is whether it's linking up with this past game, I think it was Buendia and Coutinho, almost like as kind of like 2 10s, just interchanging and whatnot, free flowing. Or maybe it's another game where it's it'll probably be maybe this game where Digne overlapping the left winger or whatnot. There's like what I've noticed is there's a lot of like things that Gerrard is like, all right, if you pay attention to this, you can see like he did this a couple games ago. He's introduced it back, and then maybe this game he introduces a new thing, especially in the front three. What I'm trying to say, which is it's a very good thing about a manager who's versatile.
Yeah, I think that's also credit to the club itself as well, because you sold your best player, you sold Grealish, and then what they did with the money is where they should get most of their praise, because they reinvested it into the club. They brought in all these new players, all great players, and then you have a new manager come in who's been just doing great things and getting the most out of each of them. I mean, Buendia, we were saying not too long ago that we were surprised that he wasn't getting off to as good a start as we thought. Being best player in the championship and whatnot, and now under Gerrard, you see that he's definitely coming into his role now. So credit to Aston Villa just for getting these players in. Even more credit to Gerrard for just making it work.
Right. Brentford Wolves. Traore back on the score sheet or not, Marco?
Who won the score sheet again? You said
Adama Traore scored last week, not again.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
No shot. That's a one and done. That's a one and done.
I mean, it could always happen. That's. But look, this is going to be a good game to watch. This definitely is one in my wheelhouse because again, you guys know I love watching Leeds play, but Newcastle does have new signings, and have that kind of like that revamp feelish, right? With Trippier on the right, with Wood up top. So, but I also don't think that's gonna be like a big fucking match. So I'll take a 2-2.
Hey, Marco, who's playing?
Marco's skipping ahead over here. Let's go, Marco.
Wait, are you talking about Leeds Newcastle?
You were talking about Brentford Wolves.
Oh, fuck.
Classic. Marco's
I was so hyped about the game that I was like, I just went for it.
Well, might as well give us your Leeds and Newcastle prediction.
I mean, yeah, 2-2.
2-2? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now give us your Brentford Wolves prediction.
That one. I was. The thing is that when you were talking, you mentioned it, and I was scrolling through to see like the past history and stuff. So that's why I jumped it to Leeds. My bad. When it comes to Brentford, and Wolves, Traore, man, I don't think he's gonna do it again. I don't even think. I think he'll get a start, but it's like gonna be a quiet one. I'll give this one to Brentford. I'll give it 1-0.
Yeah, I'd go 1-1. What do you got?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 1-1. I mean, Wolves they just look solid defensively all the time, no matter who they play, and Sa has been doing a great job and just picking up saves left and right. So I see this as a 1-1.
All right, let's try to speed up these next couple of fixtures.
I mean, I already skipped one, so you good.
Leeds United, Newcastle, 2-0 Leeds.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. 2-0 Leeds for sure. Leeds being at home, they just came off of a good game against West Ham, so they're gonna want to keep that momentum going.
Now, this one definitely is like one to definitely watch without a doubt. Man United, West Ham. Like, yeah, like what are you saying? Like on this one, like
it's gonna be a tough game because it is West Ham. West Ham defensively, they've been leaking goals though. I think it's gonna be very entertaining. 3-2 United, Manchester United.
I'm actually go 3-2 West Ham. I don't know. United at home this season hasn't been too convincing.
Yeah, that's true. And also, West Ham is coming for blood because they just lost to Leeds, and I don't think anybody wants to be, as much as I love them, or like the style of play. I don't think anybody wants to lose 3-2 to Leeds. So I think West Ham is going for blood. They want to stay in top 4, and to do so, they have to beat Man United. So I'll give it to West Ham. I'll give them a 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Crystal Palace at home to Liverpool. This is probably Liverpool's last Premier League game without Salomon and Keita. I think they have a decent record away at Selhurst Park. You know what? I really I feel like most tricky games for big teams away, it's mostly like under the floodlights. It's mostly at nighttime where it gets tricky. But then in the morning, you wake up and it's like, damn, like 4-0 Chelsea to away to Norwich, something like that. But if it's like for example, right? Liverpool beat Watford 5-0 earlier this season. The first fixture in the morning. I guarantee you, if that fixture is at 8 p.m. UK time, Watford win that game like 2-1. It's so interesting. I think it has to probably do with the fans, but for this game, Liverpool 3-1. Liverpool 3-1. It'll be like kind of cagey game, but then Liverpool kind of sneak 2 goals in after 1-1. What are you guys saying for
I think it'll be close as well, but I think it'll just be a 2-1. I think they'll get a late goal to kind of just seal it.
Nah, man. I even though, again, like you said, Liverpool most likely will be the last game that they don't have their stars up top. I still feel like they're in the back. They're still consistent enough to not be able to let one go. So I think it's gonna be more of a 2-0, 3-0 type of deal. I'll lean more with a 3-0 on this result in this game.
Okay, Marco, we got Arsenal Burnley. Arsenal looking to
Look, man.
bounce back after the City result.
Yeah,
that was the last game they played, right?
That's no. We played today.
No, like Premier League.
Premier League. Last time we played, yes.
Jeez,
so
that was
we were supposed
fucking
to.
3 weeks ago, dude.
I feel like it's been forever ago. But it isn't technically. So our last EPL game was against Man City, and that was on the first day of the year, the new year. And since then, we haven't had a win since last year, basically. We've had 4 games and not a single win. So this one we're going out for blood. I'm praying that we're going out for blood. We are playing against, like you said, Burnley, a team that is fighting the relegation zone. So it should technically be a comfortable win. But the way that we've been looking lately, it's hard to picture it. But I'm an optimistic person and I'm a hopeful person. So I feel like this one is the one where we'll wake up a little bit. So I'll give it a 3-0.
Arsenal. Yeah, I'll go 2-0
Yeah.
Arsenal. I think it'll be one of those games where it's kind of like 0-0, 70th minute, and Arsenal finally get that one goal, and then just sneak in another goal. Yeah.
I think just because of the way Burnley play, and because they are now officially last, and like Marco said, they're in relegation zone. They're going to want to make sure that they don't concede just anything. So I think Arsenal will still find a goal, but I think it's only going to be 1-0. I don't think Arsenal will score more than that. Not against a low block Burnley fighting to stay alive.
Okay.
Fairs. Leicester City Brighton. Marco?
That's a tough one. I mean, I don't want to go like, oh, every single one stuff, because it kind of is. I'm not gonna lie. I'll give it a Brighton this one. I don't see Leicester City having a comeback that yet, at least. So yeah, Brighton walks away with a 2-1.
This is gonna be a good game to watch. Leicester do have a couple of people back. Daka's back. He did start the previous game. He did get on the score sheet. James Justin is finally back, which would be huge for them if he. I don't know if he starts, because he only just came back and he came off the bench. If he does start, then it's definitely going to be a much needed boost to that Leicester defense. But like I said before too, Brighton are also pretty solid. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Yeah, I'll go 1-0 Brighton. Chelsea Tottenham. Jeez. Chelsea at the Stamford Bridge. Must-win game, probably for both. Especially Tottenham chasing top 4. I mentioned a couple minutes before, Tottenham games in hand. But it's time to win those games in hand. This is a game in hand, but they also need to win it for obviously both sides. Can't lie, I'm leaning towards a Tottenham stunner. I don't know. I feel like I'm on a kind of like on a Tottenham wave right now. I'm feeling a Harry Kane goal and a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg goal to make it 2-1 Tottenham. Leap into that top 4, at least. Yeah, try. Yeah, 2-1 Tottenham. Yeah.
I think on form alone, it's unfortunately it's got to be Tottenham that win this one. They're just flying right now. They just came off of that crazy win against Leicester, and just Chelsea just don't look like they have that starting lineup that they can build some consistency around. So it's gonna be a great game, but 3-1 Tottenham.
Fuck. Man, I really don't think this is gonna go far. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even think it's gonna be an entertaining game.
Probably won't.
And because of that, I feel like it's just gonna end up in a tie. So I'll push. I'll go with that 2-2, but I really don't think it's gonna even go that high in goals. Might be a 1-1, but yeah, I'll take a 2-2. It's gonna be a tie.
Just cover all your bases. 1-1, 2-2, 1-0, 2-0. Just go for
Pretty much a little bit of everything in here in this one.
Well, that wraps up the episode. Actually, that wasn't bad.
No,
Yeah,
you did a
bad,
phenomenal
right?
job, Nick.
Yeah, you did
That was
good.
pretty decent. Not bad.
Round of applause for Nick.
For Nick.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that wraps up the episode. We'll hopefully catch you guys on Monday. Make sure to follow everything, subscribe to our podcast, follow everything. Let's get it.
This is the bench with the Warriors. The bench is always
Right. Yeah.
See, I got you, bro. You know,
here for, right.
You needed that last little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Peace.
Peace, everyone.